Alright guys, I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible. We got our ignition switch right here. I got the replacement one in there already. You can, let's see, sorry about the camera angle here. You can push this up and pull this ignition switch out of here. Alright, the reason I can pull it out is we got these two little set screws here. They got paint on them. They're little flat heads. So you're going to want to get your ignition switch in there the right way. Put the new one in the same way it came out. Here's the old one right here. And you're going to tighten those set screws down on these little ears of the ignition switch to lock it in. I'm going to show you how I got to this point. Make sure you have your negative disconnected on your battery because some of this stuff always has power. And I got my set screws tightened down, these little screws. Make sure you're pressed in all the way when you're tightening those down. If you don't have a super long, tiny flathead screwdriver, I put a little vice grips on these. That way I could get those set screws to break free. Now this is how the wiring harness comes off of the old one. You see right in the middle there's two little clips of this wiring harness. It clips into this little spade looking thing in the middle. So you could just put a screwdriver in the middle to spread those wings out and get it off of this little clip right there. All right, now I'm going to pop that wiring harness back on. All right, so we plugged that wiring harness back in there, snapped it in the right way. There's let's see here, the prongs are shaped differently. This one is. So it'll only fit in one way. You got to fit the square hole of the wiring harness into the ignition switch. We already tested it. It starts up now before when it starts. So we pop this cover back on. It kind of hangs on this steering wheel adjuster. It won't come off of there unless you unscrew this. That's fine. Popped it back in there. Then you got these two screw holes there. And you can only get to them if you turn the steering wheel the right way, this flat spot. That's a tiny fill-up, so you're going to want one that's tiny and extends past the steering wheel, or else it makes it really hard. And it's also hard to line them back up. You kind of got to press in while you're trying to get the screwdriver to line up. All right, we got to turn the key. All right, turn the steering wheel. Then we get to the second hole over on this side. So those are in. Now we got to put our cover back on, our top cover. Let's see if I can get a good angle here. There we go. It's attached in the back there with like a flap. So we got to line this back up over the steering wheel right here and over the turn signal right there. And it kind of clips into place a little bit. Then we got these two little screws on each side. They come up from the bottom of the steering wheel right here. Phillips head screws. So we're going to clip it onto the bottom piece. The top piece getting clipped on there. And we're locking it in with the two screwdrivers. This is what they look like right here. All right, we got our cover back on. This was probably the hardest part of the job, was snapping this back together and getting the screws lined up and up in there. Two screws on each side go straight up. Phillips. That was a pain. It's still not perfect. I took this cover off right here. It just clips right on. If you take the, 3 bolts off from underneath there. I'm gonna pop that back on and my little fuse cover. And she's all done. But this is how you test to see if your ignition switch is bad. Right up underneath here. Let's see if I can see it. There we go. We got this right here it's like a clutch safety switch. So I believe it's that red wire. You can unclip it. When you turn your key to go to start the car, this should get fed power. If it's not, then it's your ignition switch that's bad. Use a little test light to see if it's getting power. So you can unplug this, put your test light on there, turn the key. I did it by myself. It's a little uncomfortable. And that's how you know if your ignition switch is bad. But like I said, pop these covers back on that I got sitting in the seat here. And yeah, it's all set.